Ladies and gentlemen, there will be moments in life when the people closest to you, the ones you trusted the most, will hurt you the deepest. You will feel betrayed, misunderstood, taken for granted. The instinct to fight back, to make your pain known, to demand justice, it's strong, it's natural. But there's another path, a quieter, more powerful path. Forgive in silence, not because they deserve it, because you deserve peace. Not because you're weak, but because you are stronger than the anger they left in you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you are no longer carrying their wrongs on your back. You are choosing to move forward, lighter, freer. There's a kind of dignity in silent forgiveness. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't demand an audience. It simply chooses peace over pain. When you forgive in silence, you reclaim your power. You say, I will not let your darkness live in my light. And once you've forgiven, never look back. Don't go back to replay the betrayal, the hurtful words, the broken promises. That's not your home anymore. That chapter is done. Every time you revisit it, you reopen the wound. But every time you choose to look forward, you heal. Let them talk. Let them wonder why you're smiling, why you're still standing, why you're not broken. Let them guess how you moved on, how you stayed silent when the world expected noise. Because you forgave, and you chose peace, and you never look back. So if you're holding on to pain today, quietly, secretly, let this be the moment you release it. Not for them, for you. Forgive in silence, and walk away with your head held high. Because the future is calling, and it has no time for the weight of yesterday. Thank you. Silent forgiveness is strength. Forgiveness doesn't always arrive with grand gestures, emotional confrontations, or neatly tied resolutions. Sometimes the most powerful form of forgiveness is the quietest. It happens in the stillness of your soul when you decide, without announcement, without drama, to let go of the pain someone caused you. This kind of forgiveness is not weakness. In fact, it takes immense strength to walk away without bitterness, to release resentment without ever receiving an apology, and to choose your peace over your pride. It is a conscious decision to no longer carry the weight of what they did, not for their sake, but for yours. When you forgive silently, you're not condoning their behavior. You're not saying it didn't hurt. You're simply refusing to let the wound define you. You are no longer playing the game they started. You're no longer reacting. You're reclaiming your power by no longer allowing their actions to dictate your emotional state. Silent forgiveness is maturity. It means you've outgrown the need for validation, for explanations, for revenge. It means you've chosen healing over hostility, calm over chaos. You're not pretending to be okay. You are okay because you made the choice to be. This kind of forgiveness is a form of emotional discipline. It says, I will not carry this hurt any longer. I will not allow it to shape who I am becoming. And in doing so, you break the cycle. You stop the ripple of pain from spreading further. You don't need to win the argument. You don't need to be proven right. You don't even need them to understand. Your peace is not dependent on their remorse. True strength is knowing that your inner world is yours to protect and choosing to guard it with grace. So, forgive quietly, wholly, and without the need to be seen doing it. That is power. That is freedom. That is strength. Peace over revenge. The world we live in often glorifies vengeance. Movies, headlines, and social media celebrate the moment someone gets even, the instant when the hurt is returned, and justice, at least by the world's definition, is served. But in the real world, revenge rarely delivers the satisfaction it promises. It may feel powerful for a moment, but that moment fades. What lingers is more pain, more emptiness, more damage. Revenge is reactive. It's driven by wounded pride and the illusion that hurting the one who hurt you will somehow restore what was taken. But it doesn't. It simply deepens the wound, keeping you locked in a cycle of pain, still tethered to the person and the moment that tried to break you. You don't move forward. You stand still, burning energy in a battle that has no real winner. Peace, however, is proactive. It's the quiet, conscious decision to rise above. It's not the absence of emotion. it's the mastery of it. Choosing peace is not letting someone off the hook, it's letting yourself off the hook of bitterness, anger, resentment, and the burden of carrying someone else's wrong on your back. And make no mistake, choosing peace takes far more strength than striking back ever will. It requires maturity to sit with your pain and not act from it. It takes wisdom to recognize that your healing is more important than your pride. And it takes deep, unwavering self-respect to know that your peace is not up for negotiation, not even for justice. When you choose peace over revenge, you choose yourself. You choose your future over your past. You choose growth over ego. You may not get an apology. You may never see karma come back around, but you gain something far more valuable, your freedom. You free yourself from needing closure from someone who was never capable of giving it. You free your mind from replaying what happened. You free your spirit from carrying the weight of what they did. In that freedom, you find clarity. In that clarity, you find healing, and in that healing, you find power, the kind of power that doesn't scream or seek attention, but simply stands unshaken. Peace is not weakness. It is the strongest stance a person can take in a world that constantly encourages retribution. It is the declaration that your life will not be shaped by your pain, but by your response to it. That your story will not be defined by what broke you, but by how you chose to rise above. So, no, you don't need to fight back. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need revenge to be whole again. Let them go. Let the bitterness go. Let the story end, even if the ending doesn't satisfy your ego, because your soul deserves rest, not retaliation. Choose peace, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgive for yourself, not for them. Not everyone who hurts you will acknowledge it. Some will never apologize. Some won't even recognize the damage they caused, not because it wasn't real, but because they lack the awareness, the courage, or the heart to face it. Waiting for an apology that may never come is like standing at a locked door, hoping it will open just because you deserve it to. But life doesn't work that way. Forgiveness isn't about them. It never was. It's not about validating their actions, excusing their behavior, or pretending you weren't hurt. It's not about letting them back in or pretending it didn't matter. Forgiveness is about you. It's a deeply personal decision to stop letting someone else's actions own your peace, your sleep, your joy, and your future. When you hold on to anger, resentment, or the desire for revenge, you stay tied to the very moment that broke you. You keep reopening a wound that wasn't even yours to begin with. You become a prisoner of someone else's choices. But when you forgive, truly quietly, from the inside out, you begin to reclaim your power. You are not saying, what you did was okay. You are saying, what you did will no longer define me. You are saying, I deserve peace, even if you never understand what you took from me. That is strength. That is freedom. Forgiveness is how you break the chain. It's how you take back your story and stop allowing someone else's actions to hold the pen. It's a conscious release, not because they're worthy of it, but because you are worthy. And yes, forgiveness is hard, especially when the hurt runs deep, especially when there's no justice, no apology, no accountability. But in choosing forgiveness, you're not letting them win. You're choosing to stop losing yourself in the process of trying to make it right. Let it go, not for them, but for you. Let it go so you can laugh again without feeling guilty, so you can sleep again without replaying what they did, so you can walk freely into your future unburdened by the weight of someone else's mistake. Say it silently if you have to. You no longer control how I feel. I forgive you, not because you deserve peace, but because I do. That's not weakness. That's self-respect. That's emotional liberation. That's healing. And it's yours whenever you're ready to take it. No need for closure from others. Life doesn't always give us the endings we hope for. Some chapters end without warning. Some relationships dissolve without explanation. And some people walk away with unfinished conversations and unanswered questions trailing behind them. We're left holding fragments, confused, wounded, wondering what went wrong, and in that void we search for closure. We crave it like oxygen. We want that final conversation, that apology, that clean goodbye to make sense of the chaos. But here's the truth that healing teaches us. Closure is not something they give you. It's something you give yourself. Sometimes the only closure you'll get is their silence. Sometimes the unanswered message is your answer. The lack of apology is the explanation. It's not fair, it's not easy, but it is real. Waiting for someone else to validate your experience or tie up the emotional loose ends only keeps you stuck in the story. It keeps you circling the same moment, waiting for peace from a person who may never offer it. And the longer you wait for them to give you peace, the longer you deny yourself the power to create it. Closure doesn't require their words. It doesn't require their understanding. It doesn't even require their presence. It requires you. It requires the moment you look at the pain, the confusion, the disappointment, and say, I will not let this hold me anymore. Accept what happened. Not because it was okay, not because you're over it, but because you deserve to move forward. Accept that some people will never explain why they hurt you. Some will never admit what they did. Some won't even realize what they took from you. But that doesn't mean you have to live in emotional limbo. Your healing is not waiting in someone else's mouth. It lives inside you. Let your peace be louder than their absence. Let your future speak louder than the silence they left behind. Let your life become the closure that their words could never give you. You are allowed to walk away without answers. You are allowed to stop reaching out. You are allowed to find peace in your own truth, even if no one else acknowledges it. That's not giving up, that's choosing yourself. You don't need their permission to heal. You don't need their apology to be free. Not all stories end neatly. Not every door will close with a satisfying click, and that's okay. Because some doors are meant to stay open, just wide enough to remind you why you'll never walk back through them again. Don't revisit old wounds. Some memories sting like fresh cuts, even years later. You find yourself replaying conversations, reimagining choices, and wondering what could have been different. What should have been different? You revisit the pain, thinking maybe this time you'll understand it better. Maybe this time you'll finally make peace with it. But here's the hard truth. Healing doesn't happen by reopening wounds. It happens by refusing to keep bleeding for moments that no longer exist. The more you dwell on the past, the more you anchor yourself to it, and the more power you give it. You may not realize it, but every time you revisit that old hurt, you're allowing it to steal from your present, your energy, your joy, your clarity, your growth. You cannot drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. You'll miss the turns, the signs, the beauty of what's ahead. You'll crash into opportunities because your focus is fixed on what's already behind you. The past may have shaped you, but it doesn't define you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. Yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it changed you. But no, it does not own you. You deserve to be more than a living echo of your pain. You deserve a story that isn't bound to one chapter. So stop rereading the same page. Stop clinging to the version of you that was hurt, betrayed, misunderstood, or left behind. That version was real, but it's not your whole story. Close the chapter, not out of denial, but out of love for the person you're becoming. Don't just turn the page, write a new book, one where your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. One where your scars aren't reminders of pain, but of the strength it took to survive. And when those old wounds whisper again, because they will remind yourself, I'm not going back there. I've got too much life ahead to keep living in yesterday. You are allowed to heal without revisiting every broken place. You are allowed to move on, even if no one else understands how you did it. Protect your peace. Guard your growth. Don't reopen wounds that you've already outgrown. Your future deserves your full attention, not the ghost of your past. Power in quiet healing. Not all healing needs to be loud. Not all victories require a spotlight. Sometimes the most powerful transformation happens in the quiet, in the still, unseen spaces where no one claps and no one notices, and yet something sacred is unfolding. You don't need to announce your healing. You don't have to post it, prove it, or parade it. Healing is not a performance. It's not a timeline. It's not measured by how quickly you move on or how convincingly you smile. True healing isn't loud, it's honest. And honesty often whispers, not shouts. Real growth, it's invisible at first. It's when you don't react to the things that once triggered you. It's when you resist the urge to text back, to dig up the past, to seek validation. It's when you choose to stay grounded in your peace, even when the noise around you tries to pull you back. Quiet healing looks like rising from bed, even when your soul feels heavy. It looks like saying no when you used to say yes, just to keep the peace. It's setting boundaries without guilt. It's crying, journaling, praying, walking alone, drinking water, and choosing stillness over chaos. It's having 100 reasons to be bitter, but choosing grace instead. It's holding your head high, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally stopped chasing what hurt you. And the most beautiful part, you don't need anyone's permission to do it. You don't need applause to know you've won. You don't need someone to say, I see you, because you see you. Your quiet healing is a rebellion in a world that glorifies showing off your strength. You're choosing to sit with your softness. In a world that demands explanation, you're learning to be okay without offering one. In a world that expects the loud comeback, you're taking the quiet road back to yourself. Step by step, breath by breath. There is power in walking away without making a scene. There is power in rebuilding without needing witnesses. There is power in becoming whole, not to prove anything, but simply because you deserve it. So if you're healing quietly, keep going. If no one notices your growth, grow anyway. If your heart is learning to love again, to trust again, to believe again, even if it trembles, honor that. Because this kind of healing isn't fragile, it's fierce. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and notice that the things which once broke you no longer define you. You'll smile, not for the world, but for yourself. And in that moment, you'll understand the most powerful healing is the one no one sees. Walking away is victory. There's a quiet kind of courage that doesn't get enough credit, the kind it takes to walk away, not with slammed doors or angry words, not with dramatic exits or declarations, just the quiet closing of a chapter that no longer deserves another sentence. The decision to leave, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. People often confuse walking away with giving up. But giving up is what happens when you stop caring. Walking away is what happens when you care too much and realize it's costing you yourself. There is strength in staying, but there is greater strength in knowing when staying is no longer strength. It's self-sacrifice. Walking away means you've outgrown what once held you hostage. It means you've stopped negotiating your worth with someone who never valued it in the first place. It's not a loss. It's a return to your peace, your dignity, your future. You didn't quit. You chose yourself. You chose peace over chaos. You chose clarity over confusion. You chose growth over the comfort of what was breaking you. And let's be honest, it's not easy. Sometimes the hardest battles are the silent ones, the ones where you have to leave people you still love, jobs that once gave you purpose, places filled with memories, identities built around pain you finally decided you're done carrying. But walking away isn't just about distance. It's about direction. You're not running away. You're walking toward something better, toward healing, toward freedom, toward the version of yourself that no longer lives in survival mode. And your silence, that speaks volumes. Your peace, that's louder than any revenge. Your distance, that's a boundary, not bitterness. You didn't stay and fight for something that was fighting against you. You didn't beg to be chosen. You didn't twist yourself into someone unrecognizable to earn temporary love or conditional respect. You chose to walk with grace, with strength, with your head held high. that is victory. Because sometimes the most powerful move is not proving them wrong. It's proving to yourself that you are no longer who you were when you tolerated that pain. So don't let anyone make you feel small for choosing yourself. Don't let guilt rewrite the truth of your bravery. You walked away not because you were weak, but because you were finally strong enough to stop settling. Walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of self-worth, of life after pain. You didn't give up. You finally moved on. In a world that glorifies retaliation, choose peace, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. In a time when everyone is fighting to be heard, choose silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because your peace speaks louder. In a culture obsessed with attention, choose inner strength, the kind no one sees, but everyone eventually feels. Because when you forgive silently, you are not surrendering, you are reclaiming. You are no longer reacting, you are rising. You are no longer playing in their chaos, you are building your calm. You refuse to let someone else's mistake write the ending of your story. You don't chase closure, you create it. You don't carry what broke you, you grow from it. And you don't look back, not out of pride, but out of purpose. Forgiveness in silence is not absence, it's presence. The presence of self-awareness, of grace, of a heart that's done begging for justice in a world that may never offer it. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think you lost. You know the truth. You let go, not because they deserved it, but because you did. So close the door gently, quietly. Without drama, turn away, not in anger, but in clarity. Heal, not for them, but for the life you are still meant to live. And walk forward, not because you're running from the past, but because the future is finally calling your name. Let go. Heal quietly. Rise powerfully. And never, ever look back. Your future deserves your full attention, and your peace, that's your greatest revenge.